Sharon Neumbo was arrested following a case of theft or alternatively fraud made against her. She sits on the board of a number of fishing companies and was very well acquainted with those who are in jail today as part of the fishrot, now 10. She, like Icelandic whistleblower Johannes Stefansson, was integral in sharing information that led to the unearthing of the rot within the fishing industry. So tell me, do you live in fear for your life today?
Initially I didn't. Because I think I took it lightly, or I took it for granted, the severity of what has now become the fishrot, or has become whatever it is. The public has made up their opinion of who I am, or my position or my role in the fishrot. To some, I am a witness, a state witness, and to others, I am an angry ex-girlfriend or ex-whatever. To others, I'm an opportunist trying to get money out of them. There's so many things. But to answer your question, yes, there's been times where I have genuinely feared that and thought that I don't feel safe. There's been instances where I the paranoia, you have to sort of balance, is this paranoia or is it a genuine concern? But I had to look at it objectively and say to myself, like this Jacqueline Ann woman, who I believe, started asking questions that were only restricted. The answers were only restricted to the board, but she had sensitive information that could only have been derived from bank statements. So, you start to wonder, where is some of this coming from? The social media outbursts about me and how all of these things and these, I don't know if you want to call it little diagrams or PowerPoint presentations or something that have been created, and you start to realize that your life has changed. It's no longer what it used to be. It's not status quo. You start to become very careful about where you are, what you say, and all of that, because I don't believe that the fish rot is limited to 6 people. So you don't know who has a vested interest in this to try and see that it doesn't go to conclusion. So that is something that is at the back of my mind. And having spent a night in prison, I could certainly see how a person could become desperate enough to want to do whatever it takes to stay out of prison. And you can never tell what a desperate person can do. But yes, I do. Effectively, I think I've been viewed also in the same light as Johannes Stefansson, who did the interview with Al Jazeera. And his life has been threatened on numerous occasions. So if I'm viewed in the same light as him, what makes me different from Johannes, And I live in Namibia, where there is 2.7 million people, and as Honorable Shangala has said, it's a village, so everybody knows everybody here, and yeah, so I can't say that I feel safe 24/7, and I can't also say that that my life is business as usual, for sure.
What do you think is going to happen with this case? Do you think that there'll be, a milestone in the Namibian judiciary, or what do you think?
I hope so. I truthfully and faithfully, I hope so. I think, we need to separate. Unfortunately, in again, being a village as we are referred to, it's a very small place. So we know who, in my opinion, I feel boards of companies are run by the same individuals, So certain contracts are run by the same individuals. So those that are considered affluent, we know who they are, And it's human nature to see the mighty, to want to see the mighty fall. But what I would like to see with this case is that to take the personalities out of it and to recognize actually what has been done to Namibia as a whole, the impact that it had on Namibian people as a whole. All of us jokingly said the day that the fishrot and the Al Jazeera and all of that was released, everybody had this, oh, we deserve a day off and all of this. It was impactful for all of us. Some of us more than others, obviously, those that are in proximity to it. But as a nation, it was something that moved people. We saw children coming out to say that they had to stop schooling to support their families. People lost their lives. And I think this should be as a wake-up call to Namibians that we need to do something. We cannot continue this way. I'm a mother, and sometimes I wonder if I should have ever had a child. Because what am I leaving to her in this country? What is going to be left in this country if we continue the way we do? And if we don't prosecute, what is going to deter the next person? What is going to deter me? If in 5 years, the people that are implicated in the fishrot, or if you want to call it that, or even just simply in the money that was stolen from my company that I think should be given to me or that rightfully belongs to me, if I don't see justice done in that, what keeps me from saying, well then, if this is a status quo, I'm also going to loot the nation? There has to be a precedent set that we have to take a stand against corruption. We have to take a stand against favoritism for the sake of the nation, for the sake of those of us that are going to be here in 20 years. I think also for the sake of just being a Namibian, for the love of the country, you have to take a position. I think we've been silent for a very long time. We've seen things happen. This isn't the biggest scandal. I mean, it's not the first scandal. It's the biggest, yes. And I'm grateful that we had international coverage on it, because I don't know if the pressure would have been the same, you know. And I applaud the people that go out and they do these marches. You know, back then these marches were always attributed to people that are, oh well, you know, it's the poor people, it's the laborers, and all of these things. But you see active, you know, working class, tax-paying citizens in these marches that are participating and that have a voice to say. And I am so glad that we've reached to this point where we can speak. We need to speak. This is the time to speak. If there was ever a time, this is the time to speak.
How has you obviously personally know a lot of the people involved and part of the Fishrot 6. You've like explained your diagrams, etc. How has your relationship with them changed? Are you in communication with any of them at all? And has your dynamics of the relationships changed amongst those that you knew well?
Yes, the dynamics have obviously changed. I can't say I'm a favorite at this point. Not to them, and definitely not to their associates and obviously their family members. But I struggled with that for a little bit. But with a lot of things, I came to realize that in every story, there's a villain. And when it's close to you, when it affects you, you want to believe that someone else is the villain. But, you know, I like Saki told me a few years back, he looked at me in my eyes and said to me, I would never make money in this country while he's alive because of an argument that ensued between the two of us. I'd like to believe that time has a way of revealing the truth. You know, time has a way of bringing things to light. So even those that see me as to say, well, the close associates that we used to be, to say that, you know, how could I do this? I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. In fact, I'm also asking the question, how could you do this? And not to me, to the whole country, to my child, to our elders, to our grandparents, to the hospitals, to the schools, to anybody. How could you do that? So yes, the dynamics have for sure changed. But as I said, time has a way of revealing itself. And if my time comes and that I need to answer to something, then so be it. Let me answer to it. But yeah, so to answer your questions, yeah, for sure. The dynamics have changed, and I think I can say my friendship circle is a lot smaller.